guys, so I'm going to be doing a review for Thor Love and Thunder. There will be spoilers, just so you know. Um, I really liked this movie. I was not expecting to, because I know a lot of people didn't like it. And from now watching the movie, I think the main reason people didn't like it is because there is, some things in this movie that some people don't agree with. Um, and the major thing I've heard about this movie is that it's pushing the woke agenda, whatever that means. But it wasn't even that big of a deal. I was with how people were talking about this movie. I was expecting like way more stuff than what was going on. It was just a couple scenes. It's so weird to me that people care, but it's like Lightyear. If you aren't looking for it, it's not that big of a deal. I don't understand why it was so big of a deal, such a big deal to so many people, but it was. Um, so yeah, I thought it was great. I wouldn't say it's my favorite thing Phase 4 has put out, but I would say it's my second favorite movie Phase 4 has put out by a long shot. Um, it would probably... Yeah, I'd say it's my second favorite movie. I forgot about Shang-Chi. But, yeah, Shang-Chi's probably third. Um, yeah, I really did love this movie. I feel like it was incredibly interesting and well written and well done. I if you haven't watched any of my videos before, you wouldn't know this, but if you have, you would. Um, I am I think Marvel is putting out way too much stuff. And so like I didn't like Eternals at all. I I didn't like that movie. I thought Miss Marvel was okay. I am not liking She-Hulk. I've only watched 2 episodes. I haven't even reviewed the second one yet. And there's like 4 that are out. It's such a boring show. And like I I didn't even really like Multiverse of Madness that much. So I was not expecting a whole lot from this movie, to be honest, especially with so many people saying that it was one of the worst things Phase 4 has made. I was not expecting a whole lot. I was expecting to have a fun time because I really like Thor as a character, but other than that, I was not expecting a lot. And I really did enjoy it. Is it better than Thor Ragnarok? Absolutely not. But it was nowhere near how bad Thor or Thor the Dark World are. I would rather watch this, have this be the only movie I can ever watch ever again than watch Thor the Dark World. I hate both the early 2 Thor movies. The only good thing about the early 2 Thor movies are Thor and Loki, and everything else is really just hot flaming garbage. So yeah, I'm really happy. Another thing I thought was great is some of those characters got little cameos from the early 2 Thor movies that they just kind of killed off because no one really cared about them. And it was like Sif, which is probably my favorite out of the characters no one really cared about from those first 2 movies. Darcy got her spotlight. It was for a very short amount of time, but I was happy to see Darcy because she's one of my favorites. I loved her in WandaVision. I didn't really care for her too much. I didn't hate her by any means, but I wouldn't say she was one of my favorite characters in the first 2 Thor movies. Um, she just didn't really stand out to me, but in WandaVision, she became probably, I don't know. She's definitely my top 3 favorite characters from WandaVision. Um, so yeah, I was happy to see her. I loved the villain. I really did like the villain. I loved the villain's storyline. Just overall, the villain was extremely interesting and well written. Um, I loved his dynamic with his daughter. I feel like his whole entire story arc made sense and was reasonable. Unlike, Eternals with Icarus. 'Cause, oh my god, I hate that movie. It is. There were parts that were okay, and there were parts that were just so bad. Um, and there were some parts that I was baffled. Like Harry Styles being that movie. But now he's doing acting like with Don't Worry Darling, and there's another one about a policeman. I can't remember what the name is. Um, but yeah, so go for him. But I didn't know he was doing that, so that shocked me. Moving on now from Harry Styles. But yeah, was a good movie. I loved the villain. I liked his storyline. I loved the characters. I loved how they used black and white and how it actually made sense for the overall feel. I feel like it made you be more into the scene with it being in black and white and made it a little more suspenseful, which it was done really well. Because sometimes black and white can be used just because, oh, that's cool. And I feel like it had a purpose, and it really helped it. The black and white a lot with the overall feel of those couple scenes that they use black and white for. Um, yeah, I really I liked this. The only thing that I feel like would have helped the story more was having Jane Foster in the third movie. And I know it was because Jane Foster, that wasn't really her story, and I completely understand that. I don't know how they would fit her into the third movie, but I feel like it just like they're like, oh, they met and now they're in love again. It wasn't really, it just kind of was in your face. It just appeared. Like the whole entire thing is like they have both been moping around for 5 years because they missed the other one. I'm not sure if Jane flipped. I don't know, but if she didn't, you could have just gone. And be like, hey, can we talk this out? Maybe become friends again, because I kind of miss you and I want a friend because I'm sad. It would have helped so much. It could have been super cool, and we could have not had Fat Thor, which I didn't hate as much as many people did, but Fat Thor's not my favorite. There's issues with it, but I didn't hate him as much as lots of people did. So yeah, that's really the only problem I really have with this. Other than that, everything is really good, or I wasn't bothered by the fact that it wasn't perfect. No movie is going to be perfect, but the overall feel of the whole entire movie was that Marvel feeling that I haven't gotten other than No Way Home, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, a couple other projects, but those were the main three. But I truly felt like they were Marvel. And these last couple of movies and TV shows they put out just have not been up to the level of excellence I expect from Marvel, just because they've put out movies like Endgame and Infinity War and The Winter Soldier and Spider-Man No Way Home. I expect so much more from them just because they've put out such wonderful things time and time and time again. And although there are definitely movies that I don't like, and I've talked about them even in this episode, Thor the Dark World, those two movies, I don't like them. I find them incredibly boring, and yeah, they're not good, same as Iron Man 2. They're all three of them are incredibly boring. But I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that I hated watching them. I just kind of was annoyed. I was like, okay, that wasn't as good. But I feel like there were so many projects that were not up to the standard that Marvel puts for itself. And I think mainly that is because of they're just putting out so much stuff. And you can see it in this movie. There are definitely problems other than what I talked about with Jane Foster and Thor. Like, the effects sometimes are ultimate garbage in this movie. But that's because they're putting out so many things. People are people. They need a life outside of work. And from what I've understood, from what I've read on the internet, and I've read it multiple sources, so I'm going to assume it's true. If it's not, someone tell me, because I don't want to spread misinformation, but I've heard this multiple times, is their effects artists are working all the time because Marvel's expecting so much from them and having such terrible short deadlines. Because they're having Miss Marvel, and then the next week was I Am Groot, and now we have Thor Love and Thunder, and I guess we're having another project coming out soon. I don't even know, but just the trailer dropped today at the time of recording this. I haven't even watched the trailer, to be honest. I don't really want to watch it because it didn't look that interesting. And then we had She-Hulk, which She-Hulk, you basically have to make a living person green and just do the effects on that almost in every scene. So I think they just need to calm down a little bit. Although I love all this content, I liked so much more when they just did 3 projects a year and 2 or 3 projects a year, and they truly put what they put in their time and effort. With us getting 1 to 2 projects a month, it's just has to be crazy on Marvel, and they can't make good quality content when there's so much stuff coming out. And I feel like this movie is a way of showing that, yeah, you'll get good things, but things that could have made it even better, maybe as good as Spider-Man No Way Home, they didn't do. The effects were not as good. The overall story was wonderful and it was well acted, but you could have had more story to tell. Maybe even just the main thing I have to talk about is the effects, because some of them weren't as bad as Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Like, the cookie scene kind of reminded me of the cookie scene, but better, because it's not Shark Boy and Lava Girl, thank God. I hate that movie, by the way. It's like a fever dream, but yeah, I think this is a really great way of showing, yeah, you can make a great movie, but there are parts of your movie that if you're putting so much stuff out, that isn't going to be as good as maybe if you waited a little while. So yeah, that's really it. I loved this movie. I know that last part was kind of negative, but it's just how Marvel's working now, and I think I need to say that because I'm a huge fan of Marvel. And even I am like, maybe slow it down a little bit, because I'm not even really enjoying some of the things they're putting out anymore. Like, Iron Groot was good. I don't think I'll remember it or go back to it anytime soon. But it was okay. I wouldn't recommend it unless someone's looking for cute little short cartoons. But, yeah, this was a great movie, and I really hope Marvel's going in this direction into their future projects, because this was wonderful. It felt like how Marvel used to be before Disney Plus. But we're getting so many projects that I hope this doesn't become one of the last movies that feels like that. So yeah, that's it. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening to my rambling. I love you all 3000, and please stay safe. Bye, guys.